Nice to be here with you today on this fresh day, fresh moment, really. No matter what time of day it is for you, there's always the next moment. And it's a lovely thing to have available to us. That there's always a new opportunity every moment of every day to show up more closer to who you really are, a place where you feel more at home, where you feel more like you, where there's more freedom. I'm Michaela, Ellis, and today we're going to be talking about saving your relationships through the only one you have. It'll be a lovely exploration for you and for all of us. I'd love to hear if you care to share where you're from, if you're possibly new to Insight Timer. Thank you. Love the hearts and love. And resonance, maybe. It's always an interpretation of what that means for you. Yeah. I'm from, hello, Bree. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. From Michigan. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hi, Petra. It's evening for you from Cologne, Germany. Lovely. Correct. Awesome. Great. Have you been on Insight Timer for a while? And I'm also kind of curious. Yes, you have, Bree. Lovely, lovely. It's a lovely platform. I am really, I've been on it for a couple of months, and I am getting to know it more. And it's a really, and you as well, Petra. Yes, yeah. It's a really special platform. I truly feel honored to be a teacher here. They do a fabulous job. Yeah. I would love to know if you're new to me as well. That would be cool. Yeah. So, I'm learning more, and please, I know there's a little bit of a delay and that kind of thing, so I still would love to see your answers if you care to share. I'm in Alberta, Canada. It is 11, just after 11 in the morning here. It's a lovely day. Fall is in the air just a little bit, where there's a tree in our backyard that some of our leaves are turning. There's a little bit of falling. It's like, oh, I want more. So I'm going to eke out. I'm going to look for the summer and everything and let those little fall bits happen. Part of our seasons of life. Your first time here with me, well, welcome. It's very nice to meet you, Bree. Happy you're here. Happy to have you here, all of you. So let's jump to it, shall we? So what do I mean by, save your relationships? I mean, that can be in any kind of way. Let's talk about that a little bit later, but it's the only relationship that you have. What is that? And what I mean by that is that we're only ever in relationship with our own thinking, with our own thought about something. It doesn't work any other way. This is how we can all be looking or having an experience of the same movie, let's say. We're all in the same theater, all watching the same movie in relatively a similar perspective, even though it might be close up, or it might be back, or maybe off to the side. We are all experiencing it from, how we're looking at it. Pardon me. We are all looking at it from whatever's happening in our mind at the time. So if you happen to have just had, a difficult conversation with a partner, let's say, and now you're at the movie together, you might have a different experience of it than if you had a fabulous day, you got to spend some time in the sun, you spent some time with a loved one, and everything was rolling along and feeling good, and then you go to a movie together. You'll have a different experience, potentially, if the thinking about what happened previously is still on your mind. So when we're looking at any kind of relationship, it looks like this. It looks like we're seeing through these filters of our own thinking, of our own perspective. Oh, I so enjoy this person. I'm so happy to be there with them watching this movie. Or, whatever else it might be. Oh, wow, I can't believe they said that. Oh, why did I say that? I didn't mean it. Or, oh, where do we go from here? Or, I really don't want to be at this movie. I can't even concentrate. We have all kinds of things that can be going on. Hi, Elena. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you. Just getting into it. So when we have this understanding even if we are not aware of it every moment of every day, because we can get caught up, we get moving around, and we got to go here and we got to do that, and we got to pick up this, and we got to make a meal, or we have to run an errand, or I got to go to work, or after work I got to run my child somewhere. There's all of this web of thinking that has us going maybe a little quicker. And we have habits. And a habit is just some thinking that we've developed into, like we call it a pattern. It's just something we got hooked into. A habit can change in a moment when it makes sense to do something different. We continue with our habits until we become aware of them, that there is one. Yeah, we'll talk about some of those too, and what they might look like, how it might affect your relationship. We tend to we have expectations because we've been with a person, and this could be any relationship, whether it's an intimate love relationship, or it's with our parents or our children, our friends, our neighbors, someone we work with, a coworker or a client. We kind of come together, and then things can happen where we get into a this and then that. So when they do this, I do that. or at this time of day, this is what I do, and then they do that. And we can sometimes get into and then all of a sudden, so in the beginning of a relationship, there's none of that. It's all, usually, not always, but often it's very light and easy, and we have the goggles on that we're looking for what we want to experience from this person, and they don't know us, so it's like a fresh start almost. And we can allow things can just be really easy and flowy. Or if we have some thinking about this person, oh my gosh, they're just exactly what I was looking for, and we can get a feeling of like maybe needy or graspy, or like just so focused on what it is that we believe they are able to kind of provide us. And if there's something that if the thinking that we have is sparking something within us that feels good, we can look to them and think, oh, they make me feel so good. But that's not really what's happening, because you can only feel your own thinking. So it's true that they may have sparked who you really are, who it's really easy for you to be. That's like more of you, all of you. That's your true nature, the infinite intelligence and energy that you are. It is way more than what you or others around you may look to you and perceive. Say, oh, I know Michaela. She's these things. But it's like, that is all you have, or have experienced, or have look for from that person, because maybe that's what you've got in the past. But there's so much more to me that I don't even know. I don't even know. When, like the idea, this concept that we are lived and breathed by infinite energy and intelligence that has infinite possibilities. Like, there is so much more potential that we can only guess at, or not even, just sort of know that it's there. Because I know that all of us here at some point in our lives had an experience of, wow, how did that happen? How did I get here? I can't believe the coincidence of me running into this person here, and they knew that one, and they connected us, and look where I am today. You can call them miracles. You can call them coincidences. We're always 24/7 being lived by something that we're kind of unaware of. It's like a fish swimming in water. It probably isn't really aware that it's a fish and that it's swimming in water. It's not aware of the water. It's just how it goes. It's just what is. So, in our relationships, we have things that we might expect. Some things that we believe we know, and we may enjoy those things, and we may not enjoy some other things. But whatever we are looking to, whatever filters we are looking through, that is what we will find and experience from those in our life. And it can change in a heartbeat. It can change in a heartbeat. Hi. Me, myself, and I. Hey, Charlene. So lovely to see you. Yeah. So what does this mean? Like what does this mean? What is the impact of this on our relationships? How could it change in a moment? I kind of alluded to that at the very beginning of the call, if you were right on at the top of the hour, and just that we always have another moment. As long as we're still here, alive in our bodies, we have a moment in form. Time is infinite. There's no end. So there's always another moment. And we continue to express and be expressed through this infinite intelligence, even after the form of body is no longer of use. The energy continues to be expressed and experienced. Actually, I say that, but it's just like, I don't exactly know. I know that it goes on. I know that we are all energy. That is our ultimate true nature. I know that we have a vibration, that everything has its own unique vibration. And I know that when the body dissolves, when the body sort of collapses, because the spirit that is living it is no longer living it, animating it, that the energy goes on. In my mind, I'm totally making this up, kinda. I from other teachers and in the energy world, there's different ways that you can look at it, and I kind of see that once our body's gone, we kind of, the energy is no longer focused in this very particular way through us. So in me, it's expressed in a very particular way, my essence, and each of you, it expresses in a very unique way as well, right? So once this very particular, very unique and important body, your vehicle for self-expression, once it is no longer needed, the energy, I kind of see that it just goes into it goes into the pool of energy of the world. And then infinite intelligence, God, creator, source, whatever that is for you, just takes a big scoop, and there's a mix of different energies in there, and is put into a new human being. I don't know. That's just the way I see it. That's where I think past lives and that kind of stuff comes up. Deja vus. Although there's many different theories, and it's all a theory. It's just kind of fun to think and talk about. So I think we get mixed, and then we resonate. We come to the earth and we have new relationships and experiences. And anyway, I was way off track, way off this whole relationship thing. Right. I have an example. This is sort of one of the ways where we can limit unwittingly, put sort of limitations or walls up in and around our relationships. Because all we're ever really wanting is to feel good, to feel better, to be safe, to feel at home, to feel alive. So we come to a relationship with our memories of past relationships. Well, I'm not going to let that happen again. Or, if it's a relationship that we wanted and it ended for whatever reason, it's like you might look for something of that in your next relationship. So we're either looking for things and we're looking to avoid things. We're either protecting, running away from, leaning into. Often what I see in the work that I do is that there's a tendency to what we want, that to backpedal from what we're afraid of, what we don't want to experience, rather than look to what it is we want to experience. So when we're backpedaling, all we're looking at is what we don't want. And it kind of sets a bar for what we can experience. And if we're looking at this from that we are energy and we are vibration, we are vibrating, our thoughts also have a certain vibration. And when you look at the law of attraction, which really means that like attracts like. So if I'm looking at what I don't want and I'm trying to backpedal, or I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to, manipulate this and make this happen so that I can feel better, so I can feel safe, so things go my way, so life feels easier, I'm going to be vibrating. My thoughts are focused on things that I don't want. I don't want it. How I know is because it doesn't feel good. But the more I focus on what I don't want and how I try to manipulate different ways around it, I keep getting more of the same. So if you take a moment to think about, if there's any relationship, even mildly, where there's some there's something going on, or, I really want to talk to them about that, or maybe it's feeling bigger than just, we need to chat about that. So just consider, just reflect on for a moment what you have been sort of focusing on in this relationship. Has it been on the things that you don't want, that you want to be different? On the things that you're wanting to avoid or hide from, or stop, rather than lifting your attention from that, because what you don't want is going to inform you on what you do want. And now, let's pause there a moment. I see things in layers, so it's a challenge to kind of stay focused in one. So let's just finish talking about what this is, to lift your attention up and look to what you want. Yeah, I got to talk about it. So what you want from your personal mind is basically all of your memories, your experiences, the things that you know or you believe you know, based on evidence. evidence of past experiences, evidence about what you've seen in the news, about what you've heard or seen that other people experienced. You will take all of that and sort of base your next steps on. Oh, well, if I do this, then that, so I don't want that. So, okay, so I read about this and I heard about this. Okay, well, this is what, Julie did, so let me try that. That is all personal mind thinking, where you're trying to figure out, get a solution that feels good from something that it's basically like moving the same furniture around in a room and expecting it to be like totally fresh and new. It's going to be different, and that'll have a sense of fresh and new, but pretty soon it's just like, oh right, that old spring in the back of the couch, when I sit in it, I still have the same experience. It's poking me, as opposed to, and even though it might look like it's in a different spot, you're still getting the same experience of it. Now, the impersonal mind, or the infinite mind, the creative energy of all that you are, which is so much more than what you know, when you allow that to flow and guide you, it's always guiding you, FYI, 24/7. But we can't always hear it because we're so busy-minded, because we are so used to and have been trained to think. You got to use your head. You got to, you got to figure it out. And when we use that, it's just like, it's not as helpful as when and it feels different. It feels harder. It feels more effortful. It feels confusing. It feels like a shot in the dark. I don't know. Let's just go with this because I'm so tired of thinking about it. Or we'll just be reactive because we feel like we need to do something, and this doesn't seem to be clearing. There's no clear answer. In the personal mind, there's often not a clear answer. It's often confusing because there's so much thinking going so quickly. And it's like a train. It's like a train of thoughts when we're focused on the one area. The feeling of when you know that you're following your impersonal mind, the one that is always looking for the nicest, easiest way, the way that has you feeling that you know. And we've all experienced this, right? We've all experienced a sense of where there was a decision to make, or there was a conversation that maybe needed to be done, and you were in a state of mind, and really where there wasn't so much personal thinking going on. It was a little calmer, a little more relaxed. There was more space for you to hear infinite wisdom guiding you. And when it came up of the words to say, it's just like, it's almost like a relaxed breath, like a relaxing into, like that. That feels right. That feels good. And when I would love to hear, do you get this? Can you recognize times in your life that you've had something come up and you just knew that was it? I'd love to know, to hear if you're connecting here. Because from that place, there's no impetus to hide or to defend or go on the offense or to try and protect. In that place, we show up as more of ourselves, of your true nature. You show up in that way. And that it'll always go in a way that allows relationships to, it's like, I don't know why, but the word benevolence comes up a lot when I think about this. That this, when I allow Source to guide me, or rather, it's not me allowing it because it's guiding me, but when I listen, it's solid ground from which to come. And what I notice is that whatever comes out, it just seems to have a feeling of benevolence. I hope I'm using that word right, because I think of it as kindly and helpful and it's like I don't know, it's a word to me. This probably has nothing to do with the meaning of the word, but it's like a word to me that sort of, it's like it creates this equal ground for all of us to communicate within. And that no one is above the other. Good, I'm glad that something's resonating. We're all equal. The great equalizer is the impersonal mind, is the infinite energy, intelligence, and wisdom that guides us. Where inequality lies is only at the personal mind level. It's only taking all of our personal stories, and our brain does this amazing, crazy thing where it just like gloms all these stories and pieces together to create something that is usually off base. Years ago, I remember reading something or looking, I don't know where it came from, but that what we take in with our senses is only like maybe 10%. And then our brain, parts of our brain fill in all the rest. You sort of go through our index file, looking for all of the possibilities that could go in here, and it makes things fit. So it seems to make sense if that's what we need to do. But when it's coming from here, it often doesn't land. It's not speaking from our heart, which the impersonal mind is heart-based. So whatever comes from that space will land better. And even if it doesn't, because here's the thing, we have no control over what the people, the humans in our life are thinking. Because if we're coming from our heart space and communicating from our impersonal mind, we can feel very grounded in it. And if it's been received because they have all of this thinking too, they too are only in relationship with their own thoughts about you. So they're going to be receiving the words that you're saying, or the look, or the action, or whatever. And it's going to go through their filter, and their personal mind is going to chop a bunch of things up and say, yeah, she's attacking me, or he's attacking me, or he or she, they don't get me, or I'm all on my own, it's all up to me here. If something's going to get done, it's up to me. Something. If they receive it with that personal mind thinking, there's a little, it's like a teeter-totter. It's like a little shaky, it's a little rocky. And there's always an opportunity. Well, no, I shouldn't say that, because of course every relationship is unique. But when someone is all up in their head and the other's in their heart, it's better. It's a better place to communicate from. When you're both in your personal mind trying to communicate, that it doesn't often go well, and we tend to have the circular conversations like, oh my gosh, why do I bother? Well, you can bother when you understand what is at play, the dynamic of the mind, how you only ever experience the feeling of your own thinking, how your own thinking can be informed by your past experiences. But when you understand there's personal mind thinking and then there's universal or heart-based thinking, when you can both have enough like decompression to allow some of that personal mind thinking to fall away, and you both truly want to see something new and different. And of course, it helps if you both have this understanding. But when you can come to it so you're speaking heart to heart, you still might flip into your personal mind thinking, like, what did you mean by that? And get a little like, that can happen, because a lot of that is habit. But when you're coming from a quieter mind and coming with your heart with this understanding, that can change a relationship that may have seemed like, this is just how it is. It's just going to be like that. So, is this what I want? And if it's with your children, which I've had all of these experiences with all of my personal relationships, my mom and dad, my siblings, my husband, my first husband, my kids, we're always in relationship with our own thinking. What is this? How is this coming to you? Do you have anything that you would love to explore, or would you like to say, well, what about this? Well, how would I handle that? Or if there's anything that you would like to explore, like, please bring that to the table. It helps all of us to sort of see these things in action, in live action. And I always encourage anyone who hears anything that I say to don't just believe it, okay, that's what it says, and then carry on. Go test it out. Test it out in your relationship. Just take one person in your life. Someone maybe where it's not maybe so contentious, maybe with your neighbor or whatever. Just whatever relationship comes up. And just see how, when you think about them, you're not seeing them fresh and clear, like you're meeting them for the first time in this moment. Because that is a place, to me, that's a place of curiosity. Rather than thinking about this person and thinking, okay, what do I know about them? Oh, well, okay. They're going to be late because they're always late. What if I planned for it, and whether they're late or not? So if being late is an irritant to me, then it's like, what would I like to experience differently? And it doesn't have to be, I want them to be on time, because I have no control over that. No control. However, if I want to instead be okay with whether they're on time or not, just, what do I want? I just want to feel free. to just, I'll be ready. I'll be ready. Okay. That's the only thing I can really have some kind of control over. How I feel about them being late is up to me. How I want to experience it, whether they are or aren't. And if you do take the time to play with any of this, I can't guarantee it. I'd love to say that I could, but I can't. But I would love to propose that when you change the filters that you're looking at this through, and allow for possibility that you can't even guess what it might be, things are going to change. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be on time or early. It means that you're going to experience the whole thing differently. It just won't be a bother anymore. It'll just be kind of what it is. But there's going to be something when you pick your attention up from what you don't want and instead look to, how would I like to experience this instead? What do I really want? If I know that I can't control someone else, what do I want? I just want to carry on. I just want to be ready when they're ready, and we'll carry on. And maybe there'll be something that infinite wisdom will guide you to. Maybe it'll be, I've done that before. I'm going to give him like a 15, I'll say that we're leaving at this time, but, or this time, but we don't need to get there until that, so we're not going to be late. Whatever. But it's not, the point I'm trying to make here is that it's not coming from a personal mind. How can I manipulate this in such a way? No. It's like, what do I want to experience here? Glenn. Hi, Glenn. Welcome. Hi, Christine. So I'll start with, I saw Glenn first, so I'll just go there and then I'll get you, Christine. Nice to see you. It's always difficult to discern whether I am in heart or head in any moment. Is this my ego or my truth? I have the theory and intention, but the practice is difficult. What are the key signs that I can pick up in the moment? Your body, Glenn. You will feel it in your body. If you have any kind of tension or strain or stress or tightness or contraction, or your jaw is clenched, your tongue is busy in your mouth, your forehead, your body is the master indicator of whether you're following your true nature, infinite wisdom, your impersonal mind, your heart, or whether you're trying to figure something out. That you're trying, it's just like, is this the answer? I truly feel for you, because I remember that feeling of, I have the understanding. I know that I can either follow my true nature or I can follow, figure it out on my own. And it's just like, oh my God, I can't tell. When you're in that state of tension, walk away. Don't make any decisions. Don't say anything. Go whatever works for you to just have a calmer mind. Maybe it's just breathing. Maybe it's having a nap. Maybe it's petting your dog or your cat, going for a drive. I have a swing on my deck, an old, big, made for an acreage type thing. And I swing. And I don't really think about it. My mom used to say, when in doubt, don't. If it's not a clear yes or no, it's a no. At least for now. Until the thinking settles, and there's more space for wisdom. Let me know how that's landing for you, Glenn, please. And if you want me to speak more to that. Christine, how do we deal with a disappointment with lateness, for example? Yeah, well, I mean, it helps to get, right, to just know that we can't control another's actions. Here's what I would like to put back to you, Christine. Because your answer for you with that particular person, or, maybe it's an appointment place, like, where you have an appointment and they're always late. It's how, right. So I'd love to point you back to you and your own inner wisdom, because it can answer. I can give you ideas, like I think I do, or I might have, because I do. What I'm very clear about is that whatever filters we're looking through is what we're going to experience. So if we have it in our mind that these aren't it's like, oh, it disappoints me. If I was to think, it disappoints me when people are late. Well, why does that disappoint me? I might look at it like this. I'm just giving an example. You don't have to go into all of this figuring things out. But I'm sort of just showing that there could be more going on in our personal mind that we're unaware of. Why does it bug me so much when they're late? Well, it's like I'm being disrespected. They're not respecting me. They're not respecting my time. I have things to do. So if it feels right, it can help you to release things when you're aware of them. Oh, well, are they purposefully disrespecting me? Like, do I truly believe that they are setting out to, I am going to disrespect her and I'm going to show up late? I think that 99% of the time that doesn't happen. I think that we're all just caught up in our own thinking. And we are unaware of how other people, because we can't know what someone else is thinking. We can't know what someone else's filters are, thought filters. We can guess. We do it all the time. Oh, right. Yeah, that, right. Their mom always brought them to school late. Of course, they have no regard for time. They weren't taught it. We can come up with all kinds of, have you ever noticed that we make up excuses for people? That's not our business either. We can't know. We're making it up. Even if we might say that, oh, I get you. I get what you're coming. Even what I had said with Glenn. I don't know exactly what his experience is in that feeling of, because how I experience it and how I might think, oh, this sounds similar. I can't know exactly. So I always want to ask. So the answer for you is within you. You might want to explore. I'm kind of a curious person. I like to explore those things. Christine, right, yes, that's helpful. Thank you. I will let it go in the moment I become aware of disappointment. Yeah, because that's the thing. You don't have to know why you're disappointed. That's not necessary. If you're kind of curious-minded like me, like I'm interested in how the brain works and how that. So it's, but it's not necessary. The important part here is to know that I'm only experiencing my own thoughts. So if I don't want to feel disappointed, it's just like, oh, okay. I can just drop that disappointed thought. And it's like, oh, how do I drop a thought? Because remember, if you're looking at backpedaling away from something you don't want, it's just like, that's when I go to, what do I want instead? This is sort of how again, the law of vibration and attraction works. Because as soon as you've picked up your attention from disappointment, and whatever else is wrapped up in that word, and look to what you want, it's just like, oh, I just want things to be easy. I just want to feel light about this. You're going to feel lighter, and other things will come to you in your life that have you feeling lighter. I'm doing a course. I'm working on a course right now. This whole idea about your attention and how you're attracting, how you're vibrating, you're harmonizing to things. And it's funny, it's so funny how our brains work sometimes. Yes, Christine. So you do that, you try to figure it out. Yeah. And we do think, do we? As long as we are human, we are going to think. It's really helpful to know that. And to know that there's nothing that we need to really do about it. I'm trying to do less. I am, but I am curious. So I kind of want to get in there and like, what's that about? What else is in there? So yes, what do you want instead? And not what do you want, like from this, it's just like, oh, what do I want? And you'll feel it. You'll feel what you want. And there may not be words to describe it, but you'll get the feeling. And when you carry about in your world with that feeling in your body, you will attract more of it in all kinds of places, in all kinds of relationships, with all kinds of people. So really kind of what to do is, I do kind of see slowing down a bit helps. Because we're so used to just go. To just, and even if it's just for a few minutes at a time, you know, you're with your child or person or out, you know, in the kitchen or whatever, and it's just like, just for 5 minutes, let me just sort of, it's almost like being there, but also having the personal mind, like, be back here. And like, let's just see how this plays out. What would I normally do? Like, not even figure it, just watch it. Just notice, really. It's once you start to kind of notice things, you'll see more and more. You'll catch more. You'll catch when you're up in your head, trying to figure it out. And it's, you'll notice your body is going, truly, it is. I do a lot of work around body and our relationship with body, but it is your vehicle for self-expression. And self, not this personal mind, this, all of these known things or things that we think we know. It's like the vehicle for so much more. And the opening up to it, to see, rather, that's why I like the feeling too. The feeling, because it's all about the feeling. The feeling will guide you. The feeling in your body will guide you, will let you know whether you're all caught up in some personal mind thinking and you're not open. You're not hearing. You can't hear because it's so dang loud in there. Has this been helpful? And is there, Glenn, I feel most of my doubt comes from the response of others with which I have no power over. I'm trying to help or engage, but I lose myself trying to make something work. Is it true that working on relationships needs to be so hard? I wonder if I'm good at them because I get in my head trying to figure them out, not just being me and allowing to see not just being me and allowing to see what others, how they respond maybe. Most of your doubt comes from the response of others, which you have no power over. Yeah. Respond with. Oh, how with others respond with. Yes. Yeah. So no, relationships don't have to be so hard. We were set up in this way with conditioning to believe that we need to do all these things and that there's, we have to honor people's love language and we need to know them all and we need to know, that we're a Scorpio and that we're number 7 on the Enneagram and we're all of this so that we know how to twist ourselves into a pretzel in order to match with another and have everyone feeling good and it's all of that is really great information. I've done all that. It's helpful for me to know what kind of things typically, but it's a label. So labels are always going to be limiting. But the labels give great information. That's it. So when you're right, you have no authority over how another responds. The only thing that you have any agency over, Glenn, is your own response. Now let's talk about response because it's your own thinking. So someone says something and you have thinking about it. That is human. That is going to happen. Just knowing that happens, I hope that gives you some relief. It did me. It did me. Okay, that's one thing. Let's set that aside. So you're going to think and they are going to think and neither of you have any control over what you're thinking or what the other is thinking. Now here's the other really helpful thing to know is that everyone is only ever doing the best they can in the moment. They're doing the best they can with their current level of thinking, with their current thinking. So I'm sure there's a time in your life that you can look back to, Glenn, and you'll just think oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I don't know, I have never run across in all of my years someone who that hasn't happened yet. What that tells you is that at one point in your life, you had a way of thinking that what you did then made sense, and you did it. Today, in this moment, you have different thinking. That no longer makes sense to you, and you will likely never do it again, or if it does happen, because let's give ourselves grace, we're human, and if it was a pattern, that was, you might all of a sudden years later do it again. It's what the heck happened there? Don't worry about it. It was just a little glitch and you fell into an old pattern of responding. That's it. When you remember that everyone's always doing the best they can, it brings compassion. Oh, I felt emotional there for some reason. It opens you up to compassion. That's what it did for me, and for those that I work with, it seems to for them too, where it allowed more grace. And it sort of relieved the tendency to want to understand where they're coming from, why they're doing this. We can't possibly, because they probably don't even understand. They probably don't even know all of the psychology that's been meshed together in their personal mind to make something make sense. So trying to figure that out is not necessarily helpful either. What is helpful is to so first of all, to know that, because it gives space and grace. What's kind of most important is, what does everyone truly want? Like what? And here's what we all want. We want to feel better. We are only and always doing something, responding in some way to help us feel better. So even Glenn, I'm just going to read because there's something you said that relates to this. I'm trying to help or engage. Yes. Now, you might believe that you're trying to help because you want them to feel better. But 100% of the time, we are always doing things so that we feel better. That is not a selfish thing or something to not be okay with. That is just how it is. Because we are lived by infinite intelligence. It is here not to express things through this body that then cause pain to the body. It wants to, look what it created. We have the universe, we have stars, we have moons, we have incredible forces, things happening. There's always relief. There's always some kind of relief or feeling better, some kind of something in the expression. So, when we can understand that the other as well is only wanting to do something so they can feel better. I want my kids to be happy so that I can feel better. Let's be honest. When we can really see that, we might say, but I just know I want it for them. No. We really want it yes, we do want it for them. But it's really because, why do we want that? Because we're here, we have preferences. We live in a world of contrast. Hot, cold, tall, short, happy, sad. When we take pleasure in the pleasure of others, we want more pleasure for them because we get it. Does that make sense? Was that helpful at all? Does that give you something, Glenn, to take away and play with? Glenn, I tell my kids it's not their job to make me happy, but their job is to make them happy. Absolutely. And back at you, Dad. Britt, absolutely helpful for me. Great. So glad. Makes sense, says Glenn. Awesome. I'm so glad. That's so glad. If you have any questions or anything you would like sort of further explored or broken apart or a different angle, and I'll come back to some of these comments and just see if there's anything that I could maybe speak to more in here, either in a live or a track or something, and well, let me know. Yeah. It's been a pleasure. If you are new and if this resonated in any way, I would love to meet you again in here. Follow me. That'd be great. I love to answer questions. and just see where it comes up, because I don't always know what the answer is going to be, but I know it's going to be right for the moment. And that's what you can know for yourself too in your life. So it's a great place to be and do that. So yeah, anyway, it's been a pleasure. So Elena, you're welcome. You're welcome. So nice to be here with all of you. Appreciate it. I love seeing the, hi Mick, absorbing. Thank you. Yes, great. Yeah, nice to see you again too. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. I love being here with you. It's hard to leave. I'm from Saskatchewan originally. We called them long Saskatchewan goodbyes. Is it Richelle? Raquel, maybe? First or second? Rochelle. Hello, Rochelle. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again here. I've seen you before. Nice to be here. I deal with chronic depression. What can I do to steer my mind in a more positive mindset? Okay, I'm going to give you a 2-minute answer. And this is what I'm going to do, and I invite you to do this with me. I'm going to invite you to take away the words chronic, because it makes it sound really, bigger. And let's look at the words of depression. I'm going to get right back to you. Okay. Simon, Bionic, Glenn, I appreciate your wisdom and gifting it to help me and others understand. Absolutely. I'm happy to. I'm glad. Michelle, thank you so much. So appreciate that. Very much appreciated. So Rochelle, in anything, so remember that whatever we are experiencing in the body, because we feel it in our body, right? Like when even just saying the word depression can draw us down and pull us in and contract us and have us hide. I struggle with depression. I didn't understand at that time. I didn't have the same grounding of understanding. That all I can ever experience is my own thinking about whatever it is that's at hand. So I didn't understand that when I was feeling depressed, I was having depressive thinking. Now, this is not in any way to diminish or minimize what you are experiencing, Rochelle. Because I know when I experienced it, it was very real. It felt very real to me, and I felt it in my body. Right? Now, since then, I've had the opportunity so I kind of came out of it. And I can't exactly point what it was. I truly believe, although I didn't have this understanding at the time, but I believe that I started to look for things that had me feeling better. Almost like I didn't do it on purpose. Almost accidentally. And then I started to see more and more things of that gave me this feeling of feeling better. And I remember having where I could see light, where it was almost like this cloud was over me, and then all of a sudden I could just see a little bit of light. And then more and more. And it was almost like a pop one day. Not one day. It was over a short period of time where it's just like, and I almost didn't believe it. Because it's just like, okay, I don't know what's going on, and can I trust that? I'm looking still for that feeling. Simon, let me just get back to you. So depression, anxiety, sadness, grief, happiness, joy. The only way that we can experience those feelings is if we first think them. Everything is created in thought first. Thought is the master created. We live in a thought created reality, our own personal reality. So what can you do to steer your mind in a more positive mindset? Forget about the word positive, Rochelle, and instead look to, what do I want instead? What do you truly want? And when our mind has been so caught up in a certain type of thinking, certain thoughts that are, it's like they're circling and they're just feeding. It's like one leads to the next, to the next, to the next, and then they repeat. They repeat again and again and again. And it can be this chain, right? But you can break that. I really believe you can. Is like looking to, so there might be like, what is something that would feel better, even just a little bit better than this depression? What would feel a little bit better? Look to that. Feel it in your body. What is that? And only you can answer that, Rochelle. It might be lighter. It might be, nothing. I just want to feel vanilla for even just a moment. And if we were in a conversation, Rochelle, again, this is just from my own personal experience with others that I've worked with, that it's an impossibility to have the same emotion like depression 24/7, because we just don't work like that. So you may be unaware of moments, of little glimpses where you felt okay, where it was maybe when you even laughed, when you had a good giggle, when you just felt quiet. There's always those moments, and those moments when you give them the feeling of those moments attention, and feel it, because what you give your attention to, you experience, you feel it in your body. Excuse me. That little glimpse, that little tiny sliver will expand. And my invitation is for you to stay with it. To know that this is true. And to just keep looking to the feeling. And you will attract more and more little bits. And the feeling, you'll want more. Because infinite intelligence wants more for you. There's so much more. Oop. So sorry about that. I do have another appointment that I need to scooch to. But I have a couple minutes, so Rochelle, I'd love to know if that was helpful in any way. And I will look to creating something more, maybe another talk or something else where we can explore this further. So Simon, bionic, I'm looking still for that feeling, chemical imbalance. Okay. My understanding then, Simon, is that you have a chemical imbalance so you're looking for a better feeling. I'm sorry, but it doesn't always, I don't always get to them exactly when they come in. So Rochelle, it was very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad. I'm so glad. If there's another angle or something at any time that you want me to explore, just send me a note or let me know at a future call or whatever. I'm happy to do that. Glenn, a growth mindset. People can be trapped in their way of thinking their whole life, unaware of behaviors that play out from those thoughts. Absolutely. True. Yeah. Simon, I answer while you're talking, so ignore if they don't make sense. That's okay. I think I'm piecing some things together. But yeah, I don't want to make assumptions either, because we're so good at that. We're expert at that. I get to save the chat. I will go back and listen. I am recording these, screen recording them, so I haven't quite yet got a don't ask Zoom. Yes. You and me, that's not us. So I would like to make them available, because it can be helpful to listen back, or sometimes we miss subjects that we would like to hear. So when I do find a spot for to put those in, then I will do that, and I will let you know. I'll probably put it in the bio somewhere. Christine, thank you, Michaela. You're so welcome. It's been a pleasure, truly. Thank you for participating and bringing things out for us all to see differently, because we all get to see. I get to learn. I see new things. And we're all, we have the power of consciousness, right? Awareness. And it's just wanting to be open to more that we can see more clearly, to drop more of that out of the way and understand that it's there. So, love to you all. Have a lovely time. Oh, I'm back on Thursday. That's the 10th, 9:09 a.m. Curb cravings with consciousness. So let's kind of explore that. It'll be fun and interesting too. Okay. Love to you. Ciao.